Okay, so we recently ran a survey where we spoke to hundreds of internationally certified coaches that we've trained over the years, and we were curious to find out what are the questions that were going through their mind at the time of making that step to kissing their day job goodbye and going on to become an internationally certified coach, working their own hours and changing people's lives. And what we wanted to know is, what was it that they felt got in their way? Like, what were the mental blocks that they were experiencing in the questions they were asking of themselves during the process of that transition. Now, the good news is we've actually got the results of the survey back here in my hand on this telephone, and I want to run through the top 5 questions that we received back from the hundreds of people that we surveyed. Now, stick around to the end of this video because we have a super cool giveaway that we're going to be giving to a very small number of people that is going to definitely assist you in accelerating your journey to get on the path of changing people's lives, making a difference in the world, and getting paid to do what you love, predominantly as a coach. Now, let's have a look at these questions in order. Well, not really in order, just in the order that they're emailed to me sitting here in my inbox. I don't know if they're done on a percentage basis, but let's go through them anyway. The very first question is, am I going to be good enough to do this? Now, what I do know is when anybody is looking to make a transition in life, one of the key things that gets in our way is a belief around whether or not we're going to have the skills or capabilities to be able to do the thing that we want to do. Now, the cool thing about coaching and any of these transformational arts or change techniques that are out there, they are just soft skills. And what I mean by that, they are skills that any human being can acquire. And the fact is, we've all acquired skills throughout our lifetime. One of the things that always pops up into my mind when I'm thinking about skill acquisition is obviously that of riding a bicycle. You know, it's not a new analogy, but the fact is, the very first time any human being jumps on a bicycle, they pretty rapidly hit the ground and realize that riding a bicycle is impossible. I mean, to be able to hold balance while pedaling, while moving, while often going down a hill and negotiating little roadblocks along the way, the whole thing just seems like an impossible idea. But surrounded by a very supportive environment, often surrounded by people who truly believe in your capability, believe in you having a skill set higher than what you possibly see at the moment. And just going through meticulously developing the skill day in, day out, before you know it, you're riding a bike. Something that was deemed to be impossible, now it's completely possible. So with any type of soft skill, the most important thing to keep in mind is that all we really need to do is apply 2 things. And that is the right attitude and the right level of effort. And if we do that in a very structured and precise way, then we can develop the skills of becoming an international quality coach. So I guess that question, can I do this? Will I ever be able to be good enough to do this? The answer is absolutely yes, it is. If you're willing to dedicate the energy and the effort and the time to do it, you can be a world-class professional coach like any of the other coaches out there in the marketplace today. Now, the next question is, how am I going to get clients? You know, this is one of the ones that pops up all the time. And it kind of ties into question number 3, which is, how long will it take me to earn enough money to replace my income? Because they kind of do go hand in hand. One thing I've learned over the years of training so many coaches here in Australia and throughout the world is that there are some very easy and effective ways of getting clients, very rapid ways of doing it. And if you find yourself the right kind of training organization and the right environment in which to learn coaching, you'll often find that that environment actually gives you clients off the back end of it. One of the things that I got started with when I began my journey as a coach, I mean, I've been coaching now for a little over 11 years, doing anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000 hours worth of sessions per year. Now done well in excess of over 10,000 one-on-one coaching sessions. And when I first got started, it was just about getting started small. You know, it wasn't about getting into the big scheme, wanting to have 150 clients, be fully booked overnight. It wasn't about that. It was about getting the technique correct. One thing I learned from my brother, who is an entrepreneur in his own right, and he is in the industry of hospitality. I remember sitting down with him one day and I was asking Justin why he's so successful at what he does. And I remember he said to me, he said, Ben, I learned a long time ago that all I have to do is perfect the art of making a cup of coffee and everything else will take care of itself. And it really resonated with me what he said, because the fact is, if you focus on your technique and if you focus on your skill set and you hold nothing but a desire and a will in your heart to change people's lives and to be the best at doing that, The rest will take care of itself. Now, of course, there's business models and business plans and funnels and attraction systems. All of that can be learnt later. But the fact is, what comes first is the acquisition of a precise level of skill. So the skill is what leads to everything else. So like my brother, making the very best cup of coffee he could, that led on to him owning a string of successful cafes and restaurants. I think it's the same with any other craft you get into, and coaching is no different. So if you want to get more clients and want to know how to do that, first of all, don't skip the most important step, and that is developing the skill. And as I said, the right kind of training program will actually allow you to buddy up with people in the room for that skill development. And certainly inside our community, which I know you're a part of, you'll notice there's a lot of coaches that are always wanting to share and swap sessions with, so you can actually build that skill up. Now, the third question that I mentioned is, how long will it take me to replace, how long will it take to make enough money to replace my income so I can leave my job? Now, when I first left my job, I left a high-paying corporate career. I was on just around about $200,000 per annum, 120K base with some on-target earnings that got me to about $200,000. And when I left that, I had no clients whatsoever, but I knew I just wanted to change people's lives. In fact, the truth be told, I wanted to be an energy healer. And that morphed into coaching at a later date. But what I did realize is it's not about replacing my income. It's not about earning $200,000 a year. It's not about getting to that financial destiny as quickly as possible. For me, what I worked out is a far more achievable and grounded thing to go for is to just meet your basic level of living expenses. I realized that even though I was earning over roughly 200 grand a year, my living expenses were about $35,000 a year. So I learned pretty early on that rather than shoot for replacing my income, what I should shoot for from a financial perspective is covering the costs of my basic living requirements. Now, this probably flies in the face of all the different wealth creation seminars that you go to and whatnot, but the fact is, when you do make a transition, you're starting back at a brand new point. And so take the pressure off yourself. At the end of the day, it's really not about the money. It's about the lives you're changing, the skills you're developing. But as a goal, definitely get down to the base level of your expenses, work out exactly what that amount is. As for me, it was just over 35 grand. And that allowed me to have a very clear target to aim for before I could start to feel confident about actually leaving my day job. And when it comes to actually kissing your day job goodbye completely, it's important that you get your minimum living expenses taken care of. And people have a whole range of different ways of quitting. Some people just quit all out and go all in and just, burn the bridges, so to speak, and just go for it. But other people slowly, incrementally take a little bit of time off each week, go more and more part-time. Some people do it on weekends, some people do it in the evenings. One of the ladies that we trained, a lady by the name of Deb, actually did coaching in the evenings when she got a certification and still did her full-time job Monday to Friday and went on to earn $65,000 net from her coaching in the evenings and on weekends in under 5 months. So there are many different ways of doing this, but replacing your income should not be the reason that you do not decide to go out there and change people's lives. Just put that on hold, and if you have to think about money, just be wise about it and think about just replacing your expenses. That's kind of where you want to start from. Next one, who's done this before me? So has anyone else actually gone out there and been a successful coach? I don't know if you're aware of it, but coaching is the second largest growing industry on planet Earth. So are there people out there being successful coaches? Are there people out there making a difference? Are there people out there who are really kissing their day job goodbye and earning incredible income and changing people's lives in the process? The answer is yes. There is hundreds of thousands of them all over the world doing this. And there's absolutely no reason why you can't be one of them. And even if you have been certified as a coach, but you're not quite getting the traction that you're looking for, don't worry about that. There are skills you can learn and processes you can follow that will definitely allow you to go out there and become one of these ones who does make it, because as I said, it's been done many, many, many times before, which means it's highly possible. And not only that, there is a strategy that you can follow. And the last question is this: how can I help other people if I haven't got my life sorted yet? Now, this is a cracker, because one of the things that people often do is they think about themselves before they start to think about the clients. Like, I'm single right now. How could I help someone get into a relationship? Or my finances are no good. How could I help someone with their wealth mindset? And the simple fact of it is that when you're wanting to pick a coach or work with a coach as a client, you're not really interested in the results they're getting. What you're most interested in is the results the clients are getting. Now, one of the things I often think about is the whole concept behind who would I rather be helping me with my tennis game? Would I rather Roger Federer coaching and training me directly? Or would I rather Roger Federer's coach coaching and training me directly? Now, I know a lot of us would prefer maybe to hang out with Roger Federer, but if we wanted to be exceptional at playing tennis, there's only one person I would go to, and that is Roger Federer's coach. But then the question becomes, can Roger Federer's coach play tennis better than Roger Federer? And the answer is a resounding no way. Roger Federer is a significantly better player at tennis with significantly better results. So in this example, you can see that the client gets way better results than the coach, but the coach's job is to clear out the blocks getting in the way of allowing them to have a magnificent life. So if you haven't got results in your life, or your finances aren't quite where they are, or your relationships, or your emotional state, or your health, or your weight, or whatever it is, do not let that be a roadblock. There's a very important quote out there that says this: "The important work of moving the world forward cannot wait for perfect people." So the most important thing about being a coach is simply understand this concept. If you can help someone, then help someone. Don't put yourself first, put the client first, focus on their results, and eventually you'll get results in your own life anyway. But do not stop helping other people while you're waiting for your own perfection to occur. Because at the end of the day, no one gets helped through that process. So they are in fact the top 5 questions. There's some little answers to those questions as well that we received from all the coaches that we had surveyed during that process. Now, one thing I wanted to make you aware of is this. For the very first time in I don't know how many years, we are running a webinar, how to become an internationally certified coach and kiss your day job goodbye. Now, you can register for this webinar somewhere on this page, potentially down below. Now, spaces are limited to 100 students only because of the software that we are using, and spaces will fill up fast because it's been years since I've actually run this webinar. So if you want to jump on board with this webinar, my advice is click the links below and register for it as soon as possible. Now, some of the things that we're going to be covering during this webinar is, first of all, how do you start a coaching business from scratch? What are you actually meant to do to bring on ideal clients, to get them up and running, but also what are the tools and techniques that you need that will allow you to create the biggest change inside a client's life? As in, what are the actual transformational tools, the cutting edge tools being used right now here inside the marketplace around the world that allow you to get the most rapid and sustainable results with clients? Some of the other things we're going to talk about is the reasons why a lot of coaches fail out there in the marketplace. It's predominantly because a lot of coaches are being taught something known as the guru model. And the guru model is not a model that allows the transference of empowerment into the clients. They can actually lead their own path and be their own leader. Unfortunately, we see a lot of clients out there wanting to be the coach, as in they want to be just like their coach. They put their coach up in this guru perspective. And as a result of that, it has a negative impact on how far the client progresses and the level of empowerment they get. The alternate model is known as the empowerment model, which is what we teach inside our coaching program. So we're going to be sharing with you during this webinar what the empowerment model is and how it can significantly varies from the guru model, so you can actually avoid failure in all ways, shapes and form. The other thing we're going to be covering, or some other things, is the 7 core keys that make up a successful coaching methodology. So if you're looking at learning different techniques out there in the marketplace, you can look for 7 keys that actually make a technique work. We're also going to be going through the exact precise timeline that you can take from wherever you are right now. So potentially you might be in a job that you don't love right now, and you want to end up with a bit of this kind of laptop lifestyle, making phone calls from the beach, coaching people anywhere in the world concept. And what is it that closes the gap between that? We'll show you the precise roadmap, step by step, that gets you certified as a coach, get your clients on board, get you working your own hours, earning your own income, making a difference in people's lives, really living true to what you love, and then allowing that to flow in the most seamless way possible. Now, the other thing that I wanted to cover with you is the 5 myths. There are 5 core myths that people have inside their brain that often act like roadblocks that prevent them from actually journeying deep into the coaching process. And so what we want to look for is what these 5 myths are and how to avoid them, and we'll share them during this webinar. And the very last thing that we'll cover in this webinar, probably not, because once I get on a webinar, I'm just going to keep talking and a whole bunch more information will come out. But we are definitely going to cover the 3 essential things that you need to look for when you are trying to select the right coaching program for you. So if you're in the marketplace right now looking for different coaching tools, techniques, methodologies, maybe you're a brand new coach, never coached someone before, maybe you're already in the coaching industry and looking to put some more tools in your toolkit or more feathers in your cap, so to speak, or maybe you just want to go out there and learn some techniques to work on yourself and the close people around you that you care about. Whatever it is, the reason you want to learn transformational tools and share them with the world or just on yourself, there are 3 things that you must look for in any training organization if you're going to study coaching. And we're going to cover those in the upcoming webinar. So please enter your details down below. As I said, the space is limited to 100 students only. So make sure you register as soon as you can. If you've got any friends that would like to come along, please forward this video to them, forward the links to them, and make sure they do register, because we're going to do it on a first come, first served basis. So once those 100 seats fill up, we just close off registration. That's pretty much how it works. You'll have to go on a wait list from then on. So enter your details down below, secure your spot, and I look forward to seeing you in the upcoming webinar. And until we meet again, share your light, live your love, and do whatever it takes. I forgot the bonus. Here it is. For those of you who register for the webinar, we're going to be giving away for the very first time ever a copy of a home study program called How to Become a Highly Successful Coach, valued at $47. And this is only for the first 100 people that register for the webinar. So if you register for the webinar and you get onto the webinar, after the webinar, we will send you out a copy of this home study program that people have raved about for years, about how you actually go on to become an incredibly highly successful coach. As I said, the home study program is valued at $47, but it is yours absolutely free for registering down below and coming along to the webinar. So until we meet again, share your light, live your love, and do whatever it takes to be your own best friend. I'll see you soon.